the gifts together to make it
Yes.
work. You know, we need one another. We really,
Mhm.
and so that's how
You
Golden Nuggets
mhm.
came to be.
Okay, got
Now,
you.
now this is what happened. Now, when I got Golden Nuggets, I went ahead and formed a business, but I honestly was not clear on what in the heck this was all about because I'm thinking, God, you got me out here. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know. I can't even talk to my business partners because I can't explain what I'm doing. And that felt awkward, you know? You have this calling, you have this vision, you're on the right track, but you can't explain everything. And then
Mhm.
while I'm trying to figure it out, he just starts showing me my whole life. He just put
Mhm.
all of my life right in front of me. Everything that's happened from the time I was a small child up until the day. And he said, because things started happening, people started asking me to do workshops and do conferences. And then I would go do these workshops. And then I ended up being on TV and I couldn't understand. I'm like, what is happening, God? All of these different situations where I've been on TV. What is this? I'm not prepared to be in front of the television. They just put the camera in my face. I don't even have time to think about anything. This is just not fair. And he brought my life to me, all of the
Mhm.
pieces. And he said, the cameras have always followed you. And he showed me these glimpses of my life. And I thought, wow, that's true. But I never realized what was happening in that moment. But all throughout my life, I have always shown up on television, on the cover of a magazine, on the cover of a newsletter. It doesn't matter what it is. Everywhere I go, I end up on the cover of something. And sometimes I don't even know that they've taken my picture until it finds its way to me. And I'm like, what? They didn't even ask me. It's crazy. I was at not a rally, a march. I don't know what you call it. But anyway, it was during COVID, the Black, Lives Matter. And I'm out
Mhm.
there supporting. And I'm just standing there minding my own business. And the guy walks up and asks me, "Don't you have something to say?" And I'm like, "No, I wasn't planning on saying anything." But there it is again, the microphone and the camera. And I'm like, "Here we go." So I say something, right? Hadn't had a chance to think about anything. And the
Mhm.
next thing I know, some a little boy out of the crowd comes up to me. Well, after I gave my speech, by the way, all these young people were coming up hugging me and
Mhm.
crying. And this thing calling me mama. I'm like, I am not your mama. I don't even know you. You remind me of my mama. And I mean, just
Mhm.
hugging me and crying because they were touched. And then this
Mhm.
little boy comes up to me, little white boy, and he says, "Ma'am, I took your picture. Would you like to have it?" I'm like, who carries those kind of cameras around? I thought they were distinct. But he gives me a picture. I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
can't get away from this. So it's like he brought the understanding of my destiny, my purpose
Mhm.
is to speak to the world.
Mhm.
My destiny is to speak to people. And so with that understanding, I stepped out and started doing television shows. I had never done a television show. He said, it's no different than everything else I have given you the gift to do. You don't have to have the knowledge. You just need to have the faith. So I stepped out in faith and put together television shows. And from January to this past July, I produced 34 shows. The television show ended up changing their programming to another audience. They just changed everything. But I did 34 shows. And when I put those shows together, presented it to TV 40, they said, well, this had never been done before, but it's possible. I knew that they didn't believe I could do it, but I knew
Mhm.
it was in my spirit. So I did 3 shows, 3 Mondays, 4 shows on each day, 12 shows a month. And I produced, it would have been 36, but 2 shows, two individuals had gotten sick and couldn't show. 32 shows or 34 shows in less than 6 months on TV and would be still doing it today had it not ended abruptly. That's the kind of gifting I'm talking about. It's the unlimited possibilities. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
try to help people understand, that because you were created in the image of God, think about, if you believe in God. If you don't, let me tell you a little bit about him. So he spoke the world into existence. He
Mm-hmm.
spoke it. You're made in that image. So you too have the ability to speak things into existence. That is power. That
That
is
is power. Mm-hmm.
that is power.
That
Not
is some
only
Holy Ghost power.
we're talking unlimited power. If you
Mm-hmm.
have the capacity, the willingness to believe that you were created in the image of your Father, there is no stopping you. There is
Yeah,
nothing you can do.
you asked a number of profound questions at the beginning of this program. Has anyone ever told you that you have the potential to achieve greatness, and why not? And I can just imagine that the powers that be makes a conscious decision that we are going to do everything to really help people to understand that they can be great regardless of where they came from. They have within them something that is unstoppable, that unlimited possibilities, and you really create an environment that is nurturing people to tap into that rich potential, the inner beauty, what the world will be like. Wow, I could
Well,
only imagine.
that's the thing. You have to uproot these what someone called trees. I like what Dr. Bill
Mhm,
Winston, he calls them trees. You have to uproot these false beliefs, the
mhm,
conditioning that I can't be great, that I'll be poor all my life, or that I have to
mhm.
struggle. Or how about this one? You have to work 10 times harder. You know what I say? That's a lie. You work 10 times smarter. Smarter. You have to get rid of that mentality that I have to work hard. You have to work smart.
Mhm.
You know why I say that? There are a lot of people that work hard, and guess what? They have nothing to show for it.
Exactly.
You work hard on a job for 10 years, and all of a sudden they let you go.
Mhm. You got it. Um, a lot of what you're saying is so true and it's so profound.
Thank you.
And we can look at another dimension. I think, people do not follow the data. And I think part of working smart is to ensure that you have the right information and to ensure
Absolutely.
that you have the right mentors, the right coach, the right support systems around you, because you not knowing is not an excuse. It's not an excuse anymore.
I
Because
agree.
when you want change and you want growth, you reach out. You reach out and you cast that net out to build healthy, productive relationship with people like yourself who have this burden desire to inspire and empower your community. All right. So I'm trusting that those who are listening to this program, you're not throwing back and say, hey, well, Dr. Starr, she was born with a gold spoon and everything is set for her. No, she
Not
had her
hardly.
challenge, but now she's taking her challenges. She's taking her challenges and she's making, her mess into her message. And her message is now designed to transform your life. And Dr. Starr, I recognize that you are an author. I recognize that you were involved in television talk show host. I recognize that you're a licensed mental health counselor. You're also a licensed continuing education specialist. Can we talk of some of this? I know you already talked about a talk show host, but can we talk about mental health? You are certified, you're licensed. What inspired you in this field, and how important is mental health to the people of the world today?
Loaded question. Loaded question.
I
Loaded
know.
question. I, you know, wow, so dimensional when you asked that. My mind was thinking dimensional. So I think the first dimension is understanding our community, our world, understanding the problems. You can't fix something if you don't even understand what the problem is.
Something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you begin to look around and read and understand the condition of humanity, if you have any heart of compassion, any degree of care for humanity, you can't help but say, what can I do to fix the problem? How can I help? And and I believe it has to do with your calling as well. You know, what is your passion? What is your calling? What is your gift? Again, it goes back to understanding, right? Understanding who you are, understanding your calling, because that's where our uniqueness comes in. I have been called to this work. So, understanding the calling, then my question is, okay, if in fact I am a healer, how do I heal? Because when I studied the gift of healing is so broad. So I needed to define my unique gift in terms of healing. I studied other ministers who have gifts of healing. And I studied the scriptures to understand Jesus' ministry of healing. And then I would look at that, and then I would look at mine. And that's how I began to understand me. I looked at the gifts of the Spirit, gifts of healing, word of knowledge, wisdom, discernment, all those gifts. I looked at how Jesus interacted with people to see the gifts in his work. And then I looked at me and I looked at how I am gifted and what I am able to do. I said, so then how can I reach people? Mental health kind of began to formulate in my head that your unique type of healing is being able to heal the mind, heal the emotions. But then there was another dimension, heal the spiritual part, because some people refuse to acknowledge that there is a devil out here, that there are
Mm-hmm.
spiritual forces at work. And so
Mm-hmm.
now you've got people who may be bound by chains of darkness. That's a whole nother dimension of healing, to understand that even though they might have a physical symptom, they might have pain in their body, they have a physical symptom of pain, but to be able to discern the source of that pain is demonic. So I call it a demon of affliction. So my
Mm-hmm.
task is to bind that spirit. When you bind that spirit, then the pain subsides. So we're talking multi-dimensional kind of healing. We're talking about healing from trauma that could cause a person to be bruised mentally. Well, what do I mean by that? Meaning their thinking, their processing is blocked or blurred or distorted. So they don't see things accurately. They don't see things from a viewpoint of reality. It has now been, their lens are cracked. And I use that
Mm-hmm.
analogy because they can relate to that. If you put on some cracked lens, your vision now is not accurate. You can't see things properly. So you deal with that, perceptions, attitudes. Where is that coming from? You trace it back to an experience or years of experience of trauma, of abandonment, of abuse. So you're talking mental, then how does it affect a person emotionally? They can become bitter, have
Mm-hmm.
anger. So you see a person that is full of rage and anger. You see a person that is perhaps hostile or violent. Well, you are quick, most of us are quick to label them. But if you got to the root, you see years of abuse, abandonment,